I have searched within the ends of the earth for the answers you can no longer provide me. I have sat in silence and hoped that the answers would be whispered within my heart, that I would find comfort in even the most minute form. But within every minute of every hour of every day, the answers will not come. And I have not been given the privilege of finding refuge from this storm that has overtaken the very world in which I live. If only to know once more the sweet memories, if I could hide within your bosom, that I would find rest and solitude from the nightmares that I keep. I reach within my most treasured possessions, within that old dusty box of yesteryears, and within my trembling hands I clutch onto but a faded photograph that beckons into my deepest yearning. I can still remember that special day, the grandest of all occasions, the most exquisite of all celebrations, when we became as one, interwoven together within our most sacred, most deepest vows. You looked deep within my eyes, promising to honor me all of the days of my life. You said that you would protect me and that no harm would ever befall me. You said that there would be nothing and no one in this world that would ever separate us. You said that your love would always sustain me forever. That is what you told me. And with your words so sincere and spoken from the most sacred chambers of your heart, I believed you. You see, you took me as an infant and cradled me, singing songs within my heart that inspired only growth and potential, believing in all of my capabilities and always pushing me to be all that I could be. You nurtured me and allowed me to thrive so gloriously, even within a garden infested with weeds. For you were my consecrated sanctuary. In you I found the purest definition of peace, my true shelter of protection. And as a young child with dreams of one day becoming a princess, of being rescued by a knight in shining armor, the one that knew of no fear and was chivalrous in all of his ways, the one that would courageously slay any dragon for the mere hand of his damsel. Yes, you were the one that fairy tales and legends were built upon, for not only have you claimed the hand of your damsel, but you have also claimed my heart and my soul. Yes, you were the one that my destiny boastfully spoke of. And over the years, as we journeyed through life together, you maintained your dedication, relentless in honoring each and every one of your vows. Yet in the shadows of my dismay, I could not see yet another passion that lay hidden and intertwined within the very fiber of your being. For within your scripted lines were cleverly disguised passions interwoven within the quilt of our marriage. Secretly there existed of yet another fabric with a texture so unfamiliar and so unknown. It spoke of yet another love, of an emotion that brewed and boiled over so ferociously within your heart. And although you were loyal and dedicated, you yourself could not contain it. And I, as your helpmate, your wife, and the lover of your soul, I could do nothing more but to stand idle and honor those same vows that we sweetly sang together as a duet within our love song. For as you have honored me in flourishing and growing into all that I needed to be, I too must submit and motivate you to be all that you could be. Never knowing that those same words would be the very coat of honor that would be engraved within your heart. And as I stood idle, as our dreams now took on a different meaning, as our journey was led upon a new direction, for your love for me was no longer singular, but now would be divided and separated, isolated and parted. I would now become a shameful mistress, holding on to but a thread of hope that time would retract itself and return back to the way it once was. But that too would be nothing more than a dream, a fickle fantasy conjured up by a desperate child. And although my ambitions have now been laid to rest, I still stood firm, standing by your side as you signed your name upon those dotted lines. As you stood there promising to love me still, saying words only to pacify my loneliness, as you signed your life away. Now vowing to honor a whole new set of freshly written code of conduct, as you now became the protector of this nation, vowing to defend the home of the brave and the land of the free. I still managed to smile, that I would reflect the face of a wife that was proud and courageous, even though I was not. But with every ounce of energy left within me, I would smile. Through sickness and in health, through the good times and the bad, even through gritted teeth, I would still smile. And always salute my knight, now clad in camouflaged armor. And now, instead of holding your hand, I have held on to this phone for years at a time now, inhaling and absorbing each and every word that lingered even within my subconscious. The minutes that seemed to stretch out to what seemed to be an eternity. My knees, how they would give way as if to be a jittery schoolgirl. Like a child on Christmas morn, I would anxiously await your call, that moment in paradise where I would once again be connected with my purpose and my reason for my being. And I would embrace so tightly to your precious voice, holding with all of my might to every single word, that I would eat, breathe, and sleep the very essence of you, as I have always done. And now here I stand, still so very anxious, yet still patiently waiting for that magical place in time where we are reunited once more. Yet that phone has been silenced for 6 months now. My heart frets, but visually I shall not quiver, for your children, they watch. You see, your son yearns to know all of the things that a teenage boy would seek from his father. He stands in great admiration of you and longs to be just like you. And your baby girl longs for your tender hugs and your butterfly kisses that always fly directly into her heart. And I try my best to read the stories exactly as you would to her, but I can see in her saddened eyes it simply is not the same. Yes, the children ask for you more frequently now, and I fear I am running out of the right words to say. I try to comfort their fragile hearts, but I fear only your return would be able to conquer the magnitude of their loneliness. And me, well, I've been holding up the best way I know how, although I'm not sure how much more my aching heart can take. But at this time, I remain as an oak tree, strong and deeply rooted. For although I shall bend and I shall sway with the winds of life, I shall not be uprooted, for I too long to be just like you. The men came the other day. I could see every detail from the shine of their boots to the crisp creases of their freshly ironed uniform. The medals that they proudly displayed upon their chests told many tales of bravery and honor, courage and strength. They told tales of everything I knew nothing of. For as I stood there at the window, I quivered and I trembled, refusing to move from my position. Mortified, I stood feeling every hint of life draining out of me. Lightheaded as my vision swirled like a merry-go-round, faster and faster I closed my eyes, refusing to believe as I closed my heart, refusing to feel as I screamed out of lips that refused to speak. I became deaf to the knocking at the door. I became mute to the ringing of the phone. I became mentally disabled, unable to comprehend what would now become my new reality. The ceremony was a rather nice one, if you could call it that. Men and women from the armed forces came from miles around to stand in admiration of a fallen soldier, a loving husband, a loving father, a knight in shining armor that became an honorable soldier. Family and friends and a multitude of strangers came up and spoke, words so inspiring and filled with dedication and true honor, words that were meant to provide comfort within my chaotic storm. I stood still as an oak tree, firm and unmoving. I had to be strong for my growing boy, and even stronger for my little girl. For how could I wipe the tears from their eyes if I could not even sustain my own? And how could I ease their broken heart if mine too was in such a wretched state? I hugged them both tightly and longed for the words to say. But the words I have spoken in the past were filled with deceit, and have become nothing more than putrid lies. I have told them enough fairy tales. I would do nothing more now but to remain in pure silence. I have injected them with enough venom, intoxicating them into believing in false hopes and promises, and robbing them of their blissful ignorance. I shall now speak from a platform of harsh realities and undeniable truths, where dreams unravel and destinies are cut short, where fairy tales don't exist and Santa Claus would have been their dad if he had not been murdered. I shall only give my own personal testimony of how I have been broken down to nothing more than a lowly widow, left to behave much like a scavenger desperately seeking the remains that I would somehow, some way, be able to piece together the skeletal remains of our lives. I watch through blurred eyes and listen to muffled words that fall upon barren soil. Words that spew forth from the lips of individuals high in stature and of great prominence. But they bear no significance to my grieving heart. For I am low to the ground, groveling in desperation, longing to find something, anything, perhaps even mere residue that would bear resemblance to the life that I once knew before now. They speak of love, honor, commitment, and dedication, yet my broken soul only knows of brokenness, betrayal, deception, and demise. And as I am made to perform the grand finale, that I would fit into the ultimate role of thy good and faithful wife, I graciously accept this neatly folded, perfectly shaped triangular flag. The flag that he lived and he died for. I embrace it closely and hold it next to my tattered heart, pressing it deeply into my battered soul. My tears of sorrow now stain this highly revered flag, the very fabric of your being. And as I hold on to the only solid reminder of you, I realize I am broken and in shambles. I have been unraveled and undone, dismantled completely and thoroughly taken apart. And though I cry out to you with all that I have and all that I am, not even you can slay this dragon of a beast that now devours the very essence of who I am and who I once was. For without you I am nothing, and without you I shall be no more. And these are my confessions of a soldier's wife.